but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody, literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what Hex has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. You know, Richard Hart is a boss. Hex is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all's deep. Everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, when is it told you? Dollar Cost told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, Jay? How you doing, brother?
Yo, what's up, man? Everyone done told you.
Everybody done told you, and we're here to tell you again.
Weekly reminder.
Weekly reminder, right? Now, this one's going to be a little special because I want to do a little more of a structural deep dive into what is going to actually happen because you know, it's not something that you can just explain in a couple sentences. Unfortunately, because of how the system is designed, people have to understand that value has to go from A to B to C to D, all the way to Z. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through that a little bit. Just basically what de-dollarization is going to look like, because it is going to hurt our pockets in a major way, because all those dollars that were offshore are now being forced to come onshore, and people don't understand that, and this is why we're seeing this ridiculous bout of inflation, because they printed all this money that got sent offshore through their money laundering schemes, and it's coming back. Pretty simple, because it can't reside offshore any longer, and now it just has to be here. So that's one of the main reasons we're seeing all this inflation now.
Yeah, like it's rough to think about. Like, the whole thing is built on the fact that as long as trillions are sitting offshore and moving offshore to pay foreign debts, because most foreign debts are paid in US dollars, then as long as that continues, the Ponzi stays alive. But the minute that Russia, China, India, Iran, Venezuela, you know, and several other countries stop using the US dollar, which is kind of what's happened, then you start to see an issue, right? And it could just be a small percentage. We're talking like if they just started allocating, you know, less than 50% of their reserves into a different currency, into their own currency, you start to have massive issues, because I don't think people realize just how much US dollar is out there floating around. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's way more than the MM2 supply that they tell us is floating around.
100%. In fact, do I have that? I might have that. You know, that visual that exists.
Which one?
Like the one, like where all the capital markets in the world. I'm trying to see if I got that damn thing.
Oh, you know who would have that is probably, what is that called? Visual data?
Visual, yeah. I know it starts with visual something. I'm
Visual Capitalist, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that might be it.
Yes.
I think that might be
All right, jump in there. Yeah, so visualcapitalist.com.
Visual.
And then
Visual.
we're looking for all the world's money or something like that, I think would be a good
Yeah.
search.
All the world's stock exchanges by size. Let's see. They got another one, properties of money. Let me see what this one looks like. Nah,
All right,
this
I'm gonna
isn't what I
search too.
want. This is not what I want. I want all of the world's money and markets in one visualization. This is what I want. Damn it. All right. Let's get to the goods. Because I want to start with the good and kind of work our way back into all the bad. Because I'm gonna kind of do around the block, right? We're gonna start at the good, work our way through the bad, and gonna end up back at the good because you got to understand the whole story from start to finish, and the part that Hex is ultimately gonna play, because there is nowhere to find risk-free yield any longer. I mean, like it's like wait until we look at interest rates. It's no longer U.S. Treasuries. Nobody wants to own anything that is forced to go up in yield, right? When there's not really anything to back that up. So it's kind of funky, right? When you sit there and you think about it. It's like what is there out there to own? I mean, hell, you know what?
I linked you to one, and I don't know how this fits into what you're
Oh,
talking about,
I
but
got one. I got
okay,
one
okay,
too.
okay.
I found one too, but let me see what you got.
Okay, I just want to point out the derivatives
Oh,
all the way at the
that's the
bottom.
same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing
Okay,
that I
all right, all right.
got.
The derivatives at the bottom are hilarious, by the way.
Oh yeah. I haven't even gotten down there, but I
Yeah, all
mean,
right.
oh my god,
We'll
yeah.
cover that.
But I mean, and this is the thing, right? We're now, man. People just don't understand the future that just is out in front of us, bro. Yeah, you got all. This one's older. Okay, let me see which one I got.
This is 6 years old too,
Yeah,
and
the one I got is 2 years old. The one I got is
okay,
2
the
years.
derivatives market 6 years ago was sitting at $630 trillion.
Hold on, let's see where it is. Now that's 6 years ago. We should compare and contrast, actually.
Yeah. So okay, and
Uh,
they're saying the high end estimate was 1.2 quadrillion.
Hold on, let me see where is it. All
But
right,
basically, on a pie chart, derivatives like make everything else look small. It's
six
like
hundred and
comparing.
thirty trillion is what I got here. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one from 5 years ago, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's see. Uh, Hold on, let me make sure that's the
This is
right.
why we do these streams, though, too, guys. Is because
Yeah.
this is medicine for those of you who are awake. This is like your daily or your weekly checkup with us. Is just like getting a pulse on anything new, and just getting reaffirmed of like what the actual truth is. Because the thing is there's all kinds of shit happening, and there's a lot of people that choose to ignore that. Right, in the face of data and facts, people choose to ignore that. So it's yeah, man, like it's a lone journey when you start to realize that you see the world differently.
Oh
And
yeah.
for the longest time, you go through phases of it, right? And there's definitely a phase where you feel like you're by yourself and nobody else understands you and nobody else gets it. But there's a ton of us, and like that's what this show is really about. Like to me,
Right.
anyways. Like this is
Right.
just that weekly reminder of like the actual truth, not the bullshit, not the mainstream media narratives, not any of that. Like the actual reality of what we're dealing with. And so to me, this is like healthy shit for us to be talking about. I know that when we talk about this stuff, it triggers a lot of people, right? Because especially if you're just starting to wake up, you're naturally going to be mad when you hear a lot of this shit.
And you should be.
Yeah, yeah, and you just haven't figured
Naturally
out how to
should be.
properly channel that yet.
Process it.
So yeah, so you're getting hit with it. You don't know what to do. It's triggering you. You're feeling a certain way, and then for the most part, most people just lash out at the wrong people until you figure out how to process that yourself.
Right. And it's natural. It's normal. This is why it's
There
good.
it is. There
Yeah.
it is.
So, all right. So let's just start from the top. Let's start from
Let's
the
do
top.
it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's start from the top because this is going to be very constructive. And what we're about to do right now, guys, is we're going to go over all of the world's money and markets through one visualization, but through 2 points in time. Okay. We're going to do, what is this? 5.5 years ago, which is what you're seeing here. Oh, I'm sorry, 6.5 years ago, which is what you're seeing here. And then we're going to contrast that versus 2.5 years ago, or 2 years ago at this point, because we're only a month away. 2 years ago. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna compare and contrast, and hopefully they lay them out the same, so we're not like scrambling up and down. Let's see. Okay, so far so good. Now check this out. Bitcoin was only 5 billion back then. This is 2015, right? And it had peaked at 14 billion in 2013. Now we know it's three digits on that front end. Let's see what they got it listed as here. 240. See, it's not just Bitcoin now. For 2020, you had 244 billion in cryptocurrency, where Bitcoin was a third of that. So approximately 80 billion. So 80 billion from its high of 14 billion in 2015 or 2014, which is what they are listing here, or 2013, which is what they listed here. So that's a 4x, a little bit more than really, but
Yeah, and market cap. I mean, I
in
don't know
market cap.
how.
Well, it's
Yeah,
the same thing, right? I mean, well,
yeah,
however the market grew based on the mining and that type of inflation that happened in the market, right? So it wasn't just the price appreciation alone. You also had some mining going on that was minting coins, of course. But I mean, clearly, 2013, it wasn't 50, 40,000 a coin. It was like
yeah.
maybe two, maybe 1,000 a coin, right?
So market
Um,
cap, I think right now is so excluding Bitcoin is 1 trillion, and with Bitcoin is 1.8. So it's 850 billion roughly is the Bitcoin market cap. And we could we could just go on a coin ranking site. Duh. If we really wanted to figure out what it was.
so total is 1.8. Uh, total
Let's see what they're saying.
everything minus Bitcoin is 7.6. So Bitcoin itself is 1 trillion.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at today relative to 2 years ago. So from 80 billion to a trillion, quite the jump, right? And this is how much cryptocurrency has grown in the past 2 years, right? Then you take into account what you're staring at right now, that goes back to 2012, 2015. I mean, from 5 billion to a trillion, that's, what, 100x? No, 20x, or no, it's not 20x.
I have no idea.
That's 1,000x. Yeah, because
It's a
you're
lot.
going, yeah, because you went from a billion to a trillion, so you jumped up a level. So what did I say?
It should be 1,000x, right?
1,000x. That's right. No, 200x. Damn it! Why I can't do math right now? 200 times 5 should be 1,000, whatever that is. Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
200x. So that's not bad, right? But of course, that incorporates the value of just Bitcoin. But looking at the whole market, right, back in this day, there wasn't that much to speak of outside of Bitcoin. Everything else was really minuscule. But then when you go up to 2020, right, Bitcoin was just a third. You had 2/3 of everything else, right? But what happens? Well, now you have Hex. And Hex itself is this unique thing, right? And throughout looking at all of these different asset classes and markets, you're gonna come to realize that Hex kind of has a little bit of each, right? And this is what makes Hex a little unique, a little superior, a little bit all in one place, really. And this is why Hex is going to be built on, and is going to be the foundation for a lot of the new economy that's going to be built, because there is no yield elsewhere, period. So this is where the yield is at, and this is where the yield can be extracted from, and that's how it's going to go down, because that's just how markets work. So as you guys can see here, this is 2020, this page, and we're looking at 43.9 billion in silver. Let's see what they're tracking here. 14 billion. Hold on. So magically somehow, let's see, they must have had a lower price. Yeah, so about $3 lower, but that's kind of a big delta. So They must have found a whole bunch of silver. Because for $3, that's a $3 difference, bro. How the hell you go? What was that? 3x on a $3 difference in valuation? Like,
I don't know. Would be interesting is, are they basing it off of paper ETF prices or like physical prices? Because if it's based off
apparently
physical, no,
physical.
look, spot price. Yeah, so they're basing that number off spot price.
What the hell? Yeah, this is supposed to be all the above ground, like the actual physical. But they're using a
That's
spot
interesting.
price. But they're using a spot price. Huh. Weird. All right, well, we'll just ignore that because that's just a pretty big jump. I don't think that makes sense. I'm pretty sure that number is wrong because a $3 difference doesn't really equate to me. 14 to 45. That's a
Yeah,
3x.
it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Above, yeah, it should be all just the above ground. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think they're just messing up the math on that one. So we're just gonna ignore that goal. But one thing that caught my eye here is how they got other 5,460. How crazy is that?
That's wild, dude.
Yo, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Imagine a future, just time out for a second. Imagine
Go
a future where we would actually need 5,463 coins.
I cannot imagine it.
Like, what the fuck?
That's been one of the things that that's been one of the hardest things for me to kind of grapple with the promise coin space when I found it, again, and I started looking at it, it's like, yo, how the hell are people picking coins? Literally,
Yeah.
how? And I think a lot of cases is just, you just figure out that a lot of these coins are not worth investing in. It's just not. You end up
Yeah.
figuring that out as you learn the process of what a good coin is and what's not, and blah 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 blah. All right, let's see if we can get a military.
Military spend.
Yeah,
That's weird. Why don't they have it on?
2015.
Yeah, because then it's derivatives. Unless it's at the bottom, I doubt it. No, it'd be
Yeah,
the
I
top.
doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it. They
I
don't
guess they
got
don't
it
have
here.
that.
Hmm, that's annoying. And I don't want to go and look for
What's
it.
what's the Federal Reserve balance sheet? What did that one
Back
show?
then, 2015, yeah, 4.5 trillion, half of what it is
Now
now.
9 trillion.
Yeah, half of what it is
Double.
now. I mean, at this time, it was probably like 7, 8. Let's see,
Yeah.
7. See, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I remember this shit.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
it's just sad, bro. It's sad. It's sad. It's just sad. I remember being in college and thinking to myself, how the hell is this just happening? Like, how are
Yeah.
they just saying fuck was on paper when the whole point of this whole thing called America was rule of law, right? Like that was the thing that fucked me up the most as I was coming up and learning this game because I was literally making so many trades based on that.
Hmm.
It just wasn't working, bro. And that's when I realized like I'm not doing something right. And
Yeah.
and ultimately that's when I realized I'm doing macro all wrong because you can know everything, but if you don't know the right thing, doesn't matter what you know.
Yeah.
Pro
True.
tip. Pro tip. Budget deficit. Let's see. I think we can squeeze. Oh, well, we got a comparison here. Fiscal year 2009. Now, what was happening in 2009? Well, for the fiscal year 2009, that means they're talking about the year 2008 going into 2009. Okay. Um, now, what was going on then? All-time high troop levels, I think, in Afghanistan, if I remember correctly at the time.
Hmm.
Iraq was probably like leveling off. Um, just a lot of things were still going on. Um,
Basically, the fallout from 2006,
yeah,
2007,
I wasn't
essentially.
even getting. I was just talking about geopolitics. I hadn't even touched
Oh
on
yeah, yeah,
economics yet.
yeah.
Right? Like, yo, there was a lot of shit going on back then. A
There's a
whole
lot.
lot. A whole lot. And I tell you what, compared to what's going on now, it's almost nothing what we got going on now compared to then, which is what's most interesting. Huh? Think
Hmm.
about it. Think about it, 'cause I'm about to fuck y'all head up. You had a ton of wars, all kinds of shit going on at home, all kinds of shit going on worldwide, economically, geopolitically. I mean, the Middle East was on fire, right? I think even the East was on fire, and I'm talking about like India, Pakistan, the usual. I think even they were on fire at the time. I know Africa was on fire for sure because I for sure thought I was going out there at some point. When I was still in the service. So that's how far back it goes, right? All the craziness that was going on out there. So there was billions of dollars being spent just daily,
Yeah.
period. And today, a tenth of that shit is going on, man. There's not that many international conflicts that the US is really involved in that they're spending money to that effect anymore. When you think about it, where are the troops on ground? It's just the usual suspects. Nothing really that you can say, all right, there's a war going on, or there's a reason to be spending all this money, or to increase the military budget, or because that's the main reason why there's always something going on, so that they can justify the increase in their annual budgets.
Yeah.
Otherwise, budgets get stripped. That's literally how it works. So, you got to question what exactly is going on outside of inflation, right? That somehow from 2020 to now, I mean, this has gone to, this is 4x from 2020 to 2022. Just for those
Yeah.
that don't know, it's 4x, right? So it's not 4 trillion anymore, it's 16 now. And we're just talking about budget deficit. That's it. We're not
So
even
where's this
talking.
money going?
Yeah,
That's the question.
where is this money going? That's
It's
right.
either going to, it's probably a combination of the following: black box projects, right? Off the books type stuff,
Hmm.
into the pockets through money laundering, into the pockets of the politicians who are telling you how we need to send, billions of dollars of aid to Ukraine for no fucking reason, et cetera, et cetera. And then who knows, maybe even some juicier stuff, off planet projects, whatever, right?
Right.
Because that stuff's all got to get developed too. And we don't even talk about that, but we'll just leave that one alone. But you got to start to question. You got to start to question where the fuck the money's going
Right.
when you're spending more in a situation where you should be spending dramatically less. You're spending dramatically more.
Right. And I mean, and again, let's think. There's a whole lot less going on right now, and we're talking about 16 trillion delta to the downside. And back then, there wasn't anything going on. In 2020, nothing. Literally, nothing
Yeah,
going on.
40% of the U.S. dollar supply in the last 2 years. Why? Where? For your $1,400 check? Come on, dude. Wake the fuck up. A $1,400 check justified 40% of the fucking circulating supply in 2 years. No.
Apparently,
No.
I mean,
Where'd it go?
we must have missed something in economics class.
Yeah, dude, no shit. It's the kind of shit that gets you to feel like, fuck, am I retarded or is this shit just utterly broken?
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because another
Man.
hidden gem that I'm working on that I don't even think I mentioned this to you, but I'm putting together. I'm not sure how I'm gonna like present this just yet, but I went digging back into the just to drop this back into the repo crisis from 2019. Do you know that the actual total was over $47 trillion for the repo crisis? Because there's two tranches. There's two tranches of money given out. I didn't know this. At first, the first number that I got in early 2020, we had a $9 trillion number that was given out to the banks and the intermediaries, right?
Oh,
but it turns out that over the quarter four of 2019 and quarter one of 2020, there was two tranches. One was 19 trillion and the other one was 17 trillion.
Wow. I don't think
and three banks were the main beneficiaries of both. But there was a total of 6 banks in each tranche that got a majority, 60% or more of the money.
What a surprise!
Yeah, and can you guess which? Yeah, can you guess which bank was at the top?
Let me take a wild guess. Maybe Goldman Sachs.
Huh?
Maybe Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan.
Oh well, of course, J.P. Morgan was number 2.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Was Morgan Stanley number 3?
No.
You don't remember? Oh, okay.
No. No, this is where it gets interesting. There's
Foreign bank.
there's a Japanese bank
Ah,
that got most of the first tranche, and then it got the third highest on the second tranche.
that's interesting.
I bet,
Interesting.
like if everyone knew that, like we were protesting in 2020 over equal rights. I mean, what about $47 trillion missing? Shouldn't we be doing something if everyone knew that?
That's too hard to figure out, sir. We don't have time. We don't have time to fight real battles that affect
No,
us all.
sir. No,
No.
just emotional ones.
Yes, just the ones that people goat us into believing. Not even real
Yes,
actual fucking battles. Just because some select group fuckheads decide to do something retarded. We all want to blame it on
correct.
everybody else.
So again, going back to what is the actual circulating supply of U.S. dollar? What is the actual national debt? What is what is the actual deficit? What are the actual real numbers on these?
I mean, think about it. When we're staring at the screen right now, it's saying 2 years ago, the tangible currency, what people around the world think of as money, was worth 6.6 trillion. However, the deficit was 4 trillion. That means that we were fucking 60% in the hole, basically.
Yeah.
40 to 60% in the hole. Just because.
Yeah.
Because. I mean, that to me is crazy. What's the objective there? Right? I mean, there can't be anything positive behind that. Imagine at this point in time, a $16 trillion deficit. We're talking about maybe 10 trillion worth at this point in time because they only printed 40% from there. So 6.6 trillion plus 1.4. Let's see. Yeah, 9.24 trillion.
There you go.
So I'm going to go on ahead and say we're deeply screwed as far as inflation goes. We're literally third world status at this point in time. And the more fiat that's printed, the higher the inflation is going to just run. And there's not going to be anything to stop it. Literally nothing. So, you're looking at this chart, might think it's going to stop, slow down anytime soon. I don't think so. This is 13 days per candle. If this thing keeps going past 105, forget about it. Major, major pain is going to ensue. And, everybody's going to have to feel something, unfortunately. Because, it's just what happens over and over again. Now, if we keep going sideways in this, you know, previous type of choppy pattern, um, that would be most interesting because that would mean something real bad is going to happen, and nobody's really going to be prepared because people are going to assume that this pattern is going to finish itself. Now, it doesn't mean it can't, but we have to remember how things ultimately blow up, right? And just so we can have a frame of reference, let's look something up here.
I think something else that's important to note is that with this is that these guys don't have all the answers, and
Nah,
and
they
it's
don't have a
really
clue.
lazy, intellectually lazy, to just assume that they've got some sort of like last
Magic.
minute going to swoop in and fix everything. They don't.
They don't know
And so
anything.
if they knew that this was one of the possible outcomes, and now we're in that possible outcome, but yet they continue, what's the purpose? It must be intentional.
Correct.
You have to understand that. Like at this point, everything going on has to be intentional. There's nobody that stupid.
Pretty much. And
There
that's
you
the
go.
interesting
There's your
thing.
answer.
Yeah, that's really the interesting thing, right? Because when you think about what is it that these people are doing and how is it that they can be making these decisions, and you can't continue to believe that you just know more than them.
Yeah. No way, dude. No
Who are
way.
you? Right? Who am
Yeah.
I? Me and
Yeah.
Jay are nobody. We're the ones that are just piecing all this shit together because we don't control it. So this is the best we can do, literally.
Yeah.
So, right now we're looking at the Euro Swiss franc currency cross pair. And the reason I'm showing you this is because for a few years, this currency was meant to be pegged at a buck 20. And as you guys can see, it deviated a certain point to a certain extent. But this was not meant to be here. Was not natural for it. So ultimately, the peg broke. This is what you're seeing here. And when that ultimately happened, people went bankrupt, shit happened, companies collapsed, blah, blah, blah. And it happens over and over again. This is just part of the cycle because people just don't understand how the game works, right? They want to think that the statistically impossible is possible. And it's just not the way it works, right? This is exactly why everybody's feeling the pain of inflation right now. It's not a game. You can sit there and kick the can all you want, but here's the end result, right? So, how do you fix it? Well, you and I can only do one thing, and that is allocating fiat to cryptocurrency. That's literally the only thing you can do. There is
Yeah.
no there is no solution here because you do not control the system. You don't. All you do is control what you can earn money in or income in, and then that's it. That's really all you can do,
Yeah, from
right?
a where to put my money standpoint, like that's
Hmm.
pretty much it, dude. Like you're
Yep.
either gambling in the stock market or gambling in crypto.
Yeah, literally.
That's
And you're
it.
and you're better off gambling in crypto because it's not dollar denominated. It has other references,
Yeah.
right? And in the stock market, it's just denominated in dollars. So good luck, you know.
Yeah, which is that in and of itself is kind of crazy, isn't it? Like
Hmm.
what are your fucking options right now?
None.
Crypto and the stock market. Like, are you shitting me?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Because they got gold and silver on Smash, so you ain't doing shit with that.
Yeah, like what the fuck is the point of that? Outside of holding like a small amount, I get it, like backup fund and all your typical prepper shit you can do. But like outside of that, and that's not even that has nothing to do with money. That has to do with everything else collapsing. But
Yeah,
outside of like sitting on some gold and silver, like you're really thinking that's going to outperform? Like commodities are just going to all of a sudden soar? You're going to be
right.
chopping off little pieces of gold and silver to go get bread and whatnot.
Of
It's
course
just not
not.
going to work like that. It's not going
It's
to work
just
like that.
not. It's really not. We wish it could, but nah, it's just not the way it works. So let's see here. We should have national debt 30 trillion. Let's see. The deficit should be here somewhere. Where are you? That the GDP 140, and of course this is actually higher. Um, let's
Yeah, I
see.
think it's closer to like 180.
Yeah, yeah. I forget
180%.
what it is that they don't count in there, but I would have to look at the breakout again just to be able to pick it up. Unfunded debt interest,
So unfunded, yeah, debt interest, U.S. total debt, 89 trillion.
89 trillion.
What is that number there? It should tell us at the top. Is that all debt across just the U.S. or globally? No, that's not globally. That can't be. They would never have
This
that number. Yeah. What's this
this
89
is
trillion?
U.S. total debt, literally.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, yeah, just total debt owned by the U.S. or owed by the U.S. I mean, I think it's funny that they put this here, but who's saying what? I mean, look at the debt per person, yo. 68,000. You talking about saving what? This is funny. Woo!
Well,
40,000 per student. Come
well,
on.
we talked about before, just how rapidly over a 20-year period, 2% inflation devalues your money, but we're at 8.5 now, depending on, what model you want to look at. If you're looking at a 1980s model, it's more like 16%. And then Penn State has an interesting model too, and theirs is at 10% inflation. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about like 60% devaluation of your money in 20 years. No, nobody's prepared for that. What the fuck are you gonna go do that's gonna like make you 60% over
What
the
was
next
it?
20 years?
You say 60%, and I don't know what the hell I was watching, bro. I don't know if it was something on YouTube or I don't know what, or Twitter or video somewhere. but it was just somebody comparing something to, I think it was a sandwich. I don't know what the hell it was, bro, but the price went up 60% in the past couple months. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's on the ground inflation.
Right now.
Yeah.
Like the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know,
Well, and
it's a
that's what I
little
think.
wild, bro.
Well, I think it's incredibly difficult to actually calculate the compounding effect of how fucked this actually is over a 20-year period.
Yeah.
Even with just like transitory whatever, even if this just lasts a couple years, which is not. I mean, we've been over 6% now for the last 2 years, and now we're at 8%. So it's not just going to magically drop off. But yeah, like what does that do over the span of 20 years? Even if we were to go back to 2% in, let's say, 2 years, because there's like that number isn't real. It's not actually calculating like what you're spending on the ground for food, for energy, for power,
Yeah,
etc.
nah, it's omitting a whole bunch of data points.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. You can't use that
You
as
can't.
you
Yeah,
can't
you
even
can't get a
rely on
real metric on
it. Yeah.
a real gauge of just how fucked this is, but it's got to be pretty bad,
Mhm.
like hundreds of percent.
Yep. I mean, look, this is just a trade deficit, right? And a trade deficit is basically your exports minus your imports, or your imports minus your exports, however you want to call it. But long story short, you want to be exporting more than you're importing in order for this number to be positive. And as you guys can see here, it's red, meaning it's negative, meaning we are importing more than we're exporting. So that means that we are buying more stuff from offshore counterparties than we are selling to them. Same deal with China, same deal with crude oil, right? And we all need petroleum for a bunch of shit because guess what? Guess what plastic is made out of?
Yeah.
Petroleum. So
Yeah, they use it so that plastic doesn't get stuck in the mold. They have to use it.
that's right. That's right. So we're breaking down how effed, right, the dollar is across the board. I mean, you know, total debt, total interest paid, apparently. I'm not really sure that's a real number. Student loan debt. I mean, I can't believe this is almost at 2 trillion. I remember when it was crossing a trillion. So I'm skipping a jump away from 2 at this point.
Yeah.
Credit card debt keeps hovering over a trillion. I mean, this is just wild. Is it going down? Oh wow, it's going down. That's interesting. I wonder if that fluctuates up and down. You see that?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, according to revolving and non-revolving recent credit numbers, people are pulling out credit at an all-time high. So that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
it doesn't. It
I
doesn't.
mean, I just got data the other day on this. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not
that's
really
weird.
getting this number. Yeah, I don't get this number, and it keeps going down. All right, we're gonna ignore that number. But anyways, as you guys can see, the fiscal picture, i.e., your balance sheet, just isn't looking good. So when you sit here and thinking about how is this actually bad, think about it like this. Imagine if you had to live off of your credit card all the time and you had to constantly run up your credit card to 6 figures, but you really only needed 30,000 a year to live off of, and what you're actually doing is running it up to 100K.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do with that? You're not living a good life, doing that at all. You're gonna just have problems. So here's a
Yeah,
CPI release.
I sent you this. Yeah. Might as well look at this. Because it gives you the furthest column all the way to the right when you scroll down, gives you 12 months
It even
comparison.
tells you in the top line, right? CPI increased 1.2% in March, after rising 0.8 in February, right? And the last line is the annual number. All items index increased 8.5%. And this is before they got to fuck the number up.
Yeah, which you like again, you think these people are smart. They're fucking stupid. They changed the CPI model to just be a weighted average of the last 12 months instead of what it was before, which was the last couple years, which actually made the data look worse. It would have been in their best interest to fucking leave it alone because it would have looked better.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Yeah.
So come on, dude. And this should have been obvious, like very obvious,
Look,
that
man.
you're not going to drown out monthly numbers over a 12-month period as well as you would over a 2-year period. Like, are you
Clearly not.
expecting inflation to get better? Are you fucking stupid?
I mean, what's funny is when you sit here and look at the formula. I mean, when you decrease a denominator, what happens? You just increased the output of that value, whether you wanted to or not.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened when they went from 24 to 12. So I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah,
Anyway, let's
but
go through your table.
also too, like this, the CPI model itself, just in case you guys weren't familiar, and you can look this up. I can't remember the percentages, but it's like, energy food only accounts for like 21% or
Do they
something of the
have the
index, and
methodology down here? Hold on.
they might. I hope so.
Let's see here.
But the
Measures.
percentages actually don't really make sense, and it makes
Yeah,
it
yeah, nah, it's
convenient to
completely.
show the data in a way that you think means something, but it means nothing. Like as we've discussed, and look, if you scroll up and we see food costs is 8.8, food at home is 10%, but it's gone up more than 10%. You know this. Your eggs
Yeah.
went up double. Your fucking
Yep.
chicken went up double. It's $40 for a steak now.
Yo, it's crazy out here.
So
It's
yeah,
really
dude,
crazy.
none of this shit actually fucking matters.
Yeah, nah, it's a joke. But this is why you gotta like look at it, break it down, so you can understand how much of a joke it is.
Does it actually give them the mythology? I didn't
Nah,
look
I'm
at it.
not finding it. I'm not finding it.
Fuck it, who cares?
It's fine. But here's the last column, unadjusted, last 12 months, ending March 2022. And wow, food 8.8, food at home 10%, food away from home, whatever that means 6.9%, energy 32%, commodities based on energies 48.3, gasoline all types 48%, fuel oil 70%. I mean, this is just crazy, yo.
It's crazy, dude.
It's
And
insane.
and if you remember the narratives, it was transitory, then
Mm.
it was global supply shock, then it was inflation's actually good for you, which that seems to be the playbook now. If you pay attention, they really do the same thing over and over again. They go with it's short term, oh, it's here to stay, oh, here's why it's actually good for you. And they do this with a lot of different narratives, but that was the narrative. And now for this month, it was all Putin's fault, right? Remember that?
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That's what all this. And there's
Yeah.
what's crazy is there's people out there like skewing data and showing charts that actually prove that yes, just because energy is up over the last like 6 months, that's exactly, or over the last 3 months rather, that's exactly what's going on.
Well, you know how that is, man. People are always going to cherry pick data. That's why I try to tell people, like, look, if you don't understand how to read data, you don't actually know what you're talking about. Period. And I'm very fucking blunt about that. I mean, I've told that shit to family members. I don't care. Like, don't sit over here talking about some statistical information when you don't even know how to read data. I mean,
Yeah, and
you're
then
just parodying information. That's it.
and it doesn't actually matter. Like what you're saying is you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, inflation is 8.5%, but you're paying double for your eggs. Like just read between the lines, dude. It's not true. It
You
doesn't
know,
fucking matter.
I was thinking about something the other day, man. I was running. And I remembered when I realized that I just did not belong in the stock side of the street. And I was talking to, this is when I had my first job. I thought I was crushing it. Was talking inflation with my PM. And again, I was working at a hedge fund. So, you're talking with a top dog. You're thinking you're going to have a good conversation or you learn something or whatever. And I'm here just breaking down how the cost of things has gone up over time, right? And this was back in 2010, right? So this was a while ago, and prices weren't as crazy as they are now, obviously. But I mean, the guy, the guy had been working on Wall Street since he was 16, so his frame of thought was fucked up, right? So the guy had the nerve to tell me that an inflation rate of whatever the fuck the number was, because he did the Kager in his head. I can't remember what the number was. It was like some double digit number. And he said it wasn't that bad because it happened over time. And I was like, What the fuck kind of backwards ass logic is that? Like,
It's
bro,
literally the exact opposite. It
like,
compounds over
I
time,
don't
you
give
dumb
a
fuck.
fuck what Columbia you went to, bro. Like, you a dumb motherfucker if you think like that. Like, I don't care what Ivy League school you went to, bro. You just dumb. You're dumb.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just fucking flat out stupid if you believe that shit makes sense. And these are the people that are out here making economic fucking policy, bro. Motherfuckers that think like that. And you think I'm supposed to give a fuck what they say? You're out your mind. Flat out. In fact, I'm gonna laugh at you. And I'm gonna laugh hard because you clearly are lost as hell and you need help. You know,
That
it's
is
funny.
wild, dude.
Yeah,
That is wild. The people at the top are
very
dumber
funny.
than regular
Yes.
people like you and me.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Now, we already talked about this. I mean, the Fed's
Quite a
balance
bit,
sheet
yeah.
went from 4 trillion to 4.5 to 7. So we've harped on that many times. Now, let's talk about this for a little bit because people don't really get the implication behind this. Now, look in here. I think they had this up here. So, oh, interesting. Looks like inflation got them too. 79 billion. Oh, wait. False.
It
False.
did not, sir. It did not
False.
get them.
They got the 100x instead of 10x. What is that? From 80
That is a
to
lot.
8,000. So that's 100x. Look at them. They're balling, baby. Look at that.
And
Huh?
that's a point to make here as well, is that inflation doesn't affect the top earners as badly as it affects the bottom earners. It's just how it always is. Or the middle earners. Like, really, the only guys benefiting from inflation are the guys at the top.
So are you guys ready to understand why Hex is better now? Because this is exactly us in the future. The more T-shares you got, the more billions and trillions you're going to have, and whatever crummy fiat might exist, assuming we lose this currency war, right? Because we're going to get to it because we haven't gotten to it yet, but there's a literal currency war going on, right? All these central banks are trying to find ways to inject themselves into cryptocurrency because they're realizing that their CBDC is not going to cut it. And a major move was made yesterday by one of the biggest banks, one of the biggest asset managers on the planet, if not the biggest asset manager on the planet. In fact, this asset manager is the asset manager for the Vatican, in case you didn't know that. And we'll get to that. But these people are not playing games. They do not want you to be financially free, and this is why we're going through all this. Now, if you're part of the gang, yeah, you can 100x in a few years. No big deal. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? And you'll get taken care of.
Yeah,
Right.
like, I don't think people understand this enough, because if they did, we wouldn't see people selling a fucking ounce of Hex.
Of Hex.
Not
That's
one,
right.
not one single bit would be
That's
being
right.
sold right now if people actually understood what the fuck this means and where it's going.
That's right. That's a fact.
But yet, we got people selling hundreds of millions at fucking 12 cents. You hit your head, dude. You hit your fucking head. You need to go see a doctor.
So let's break this down a little bit, Jay, because maybe people don't fully grasp how this happens. Now, how does this happen? Well, guess what? All of the laws that you know and love are put forth by these same so-called world's billionaires that dictate how business is conducted. Period. Okay. So that's important to understand because these are the folks that are the closest to the spigot outside of banks. Because guess what? When Bezos wants to buy the Washington Post, he can. When Bezos wants a government contract to fly into wherever, he gets it. Pretty simple. When Gates wants a WHO contract, guess what? He gets it. Pretty simple. All these guys, they get what they want.
Yeah, they're at the front of the line for contracts, for funding of any sort, bailouts.
Period.
They have
Federal
to
funding.
Because all they got to do is threaten, well, we'll go under, and we'll take down X amount of investors with us. That's all they got to threaten.
employees, whatever.
Yep. We'll take down the whole system if we go under. You know it, I know it, so give me money. Okay, here you go. They have no choice.
Yep. And this is how the richer get richer from their perspective
Because they can never lose.
because they can never lose. And the powers that be continuously acquiesce to our detriment because we never win from any scenario that's put forth by any of these individuals. And that's just a fact, right? So these are the kinds
That's
of
wild.
things that it's I mean 100x in 5 years in fiat terms. I mean the amount of debasing that has to happen for that to happen, and this is before Rona really, you know,
Yeah.
really made them even richer because all these people are even richer now.
Yeah, it's even dumber now.
Yeah, it's even dumber now. So, so they're probably at like 12 trillion, probably. So, and this happens because people don't understand the game. I mean, it's clear. This is exactly why people are selling hex. They don't understand the value of being at the spigot of the inflation mechanism because that's
Yeah.
all hex is. It puts you at the spigot itself, right? 5 years from now, you're going to be the millionaire. 10 years from now, you're going to be the billionaire. 15 years from now, there's no telling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very simple.
Because like what's interesting to me too is like the conversation of how many middlemen is in the system is actually starting to happen. Like Janet Yellen discussed was talking about cryptocurrencies the other day. She released a paper. We can look at this later. But anyways, one of the pieces that she covered was the centralized middlemen. She literally called it centralized intermediaries,
Oh, wow.
centralized middlemen. So the fact that that's even being discussed proves that there's going to be a natural erosion that's going to occur now because there's no choice. Because now that people have experienced it, they start to question. Well, like, yeah, why the fuck Swift and like, wait a second, sending a wire transfer, like what? They're going to start to question all the intermediaries. They're going to start to see it now because of Bitcoin, because of cryptocurrencies.
And they're
So
gonna
you're
have
at
to,
you're at the front of that line.
Yep. I mean, what's
Understand
interesting,
that.
yeah, what's interesting is that you get to choose how much inflation you get. I mean, think
Mhm.
about it. This literal system that's made these folks here trillionaires just by doing what they're doing, which is a whole lot of nothing but being leeches, honestly, has allowed them to continuously benefit to the tune of trillions, right? And what are they doing to add value besides making you lazier and fucking your life up?
Yeah, and like completely destroying, the like for example the Amazon piece. Like look at how much that's fundamentally changed consumerism.
Hmm.
Because I know that I'm gonna get my shit in 2 days, and I know that when I'm sick of it, if I haven't gotten it in bulk or it breaks or whatever, I just throw it away. Costco started this. Amazon is leading the way now and taking it to the next level of consumerism, where
Yep.
it's just constantly just buy, throw away, buy, throw away, buy, throw away. Nothing
Yeah.
lasts.
Yep. Not about quality, it's about quantity.
And
And
like, and
it's always been
also
that.
too, these people get to travel freely. They don't
Oh
need a
yeah.
fucking vax pass. They don't
Yeah.
need any of this shit. So
Not
time
at
out.
all.
Let's look at this for a second. So they get to do whatever they want, buy whatever they want, go wherever they want, have free travel everywhere around the planet, wherever the fuck they want, and they got red carpet rolled out for them. But
Right.
you don't. But
Correct.
you don't. Why?
Correct.
Why?
Correct.
Like,
Imagine that. I mean, I get treated better by junkies than when I could travel to the airport. I mean, this is
yeah,
2022. How crazy is that?
yep. And that's a
That's
right that all of us have. It's written in the Constitution.
Yep.
So what the fuck is going on there?
Fourth Amendment constantly breached. Constantly.
With because of emergency protocols.
Hmm. Made up emergencies. Clearly, as we've highlighted earlier, as we noticed the difference in what was going on in 2009 versus 2020. And things just continuously get oppressively worse. They don't get
Yeah.
oppressively better. However, these folks get significantly wealthier year after year.
Yeah, so like if there's a piece to be mad at the fact that they have access to all these tools, these resources, and the right of free travel, and you don't. That's the piece to get mad at. Don't get mad at that they got all this money.
Yeah,
That's not the
you need
point.
to question that because they're no different than you.
Yes, that's the bigger point.
That's right.
They're
What's
talking
so
about fucking
special
buying
about
Twitter and shit. Like,
yeah?
I want
What's
to
so
buy
special
Twitter.
about them? What's
Yeah,
so
I want to
special
buy
about
Twitter.
them? Right. I want to buy Twitter too. Can I get some finance in Morgan Stanley?
Yeah, give me some money. I want to buy it too and fucking
I'll
kick.
buy it too.
I got a whole list of people I want to kick off there.
Yep. Pick all these
Same
motherfuckers
shit,
to
right?
start with. Yeah. Why not? Start with these fools right now. Kick them all.
Exactly. Nah, just mark them all what they are. Misinformation. Liars.
Yo, what's funny is that you got all these clowns tripping about this Musk guy buying Twitter when this guy owns a whole newspaper.
Yes.
Buffett owns a whole newspaper, a bunch of newspapers, not even a bunch of them. I mean, all these guys. I mean, this guy controls a flow of information to 3 billion motherfucking people.
Yeah.
This guy controls databases for I don't know how many billions of people's information. Like, are you kidding me? Like, if you really sat here and broke down what what's actually going on, the fact that these clowns are out here acting like something dastardly is going on is
threat to
hilarious.
democracy. Threat to democracy.
Hilarious. It's
but yet, no mention of Vanguard. No mention of BlackRock.
no mention of nothing.
Yeah.
Just what benefits them. That's it.
Yes.
That is all. And these are the things people have to realize are going on. This is what's important. This is what's important. This is why you always lose and they always win, because you're too busy not paying attention. And
focusing on the wrong shit.
And focusing on the wrong shit. And shout out to Dip Catcher and Goki as Maxi is done launched. So
hell yeah.
You got 2 weeks, guys. Get to it. So let's see. Gold, 10.9 trillion. Let's see if it's even listed here. Silver.
I don't think it
gold,
is.
7.8
trillion.
7.8 trillion. So now, see, so this was a 20% increase, 25% increase, but yet silver was something stupid. It was like, what, 4x? Right?
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know what's going on there.
That got to be a typo, bro. That can't be right. That can't be right.
Yeah.
That can't be. I mean, that's probably 13 billion, and they just pressed 4 by mistake, because that just doesn't make sense.
I also wonder how they actually equate spot price. Is that spot price on the day that they decided to do this data for the current year, or is that a smoothed out average of spot price? Because we've seen some insane action on spot price over the last 2 years.
Yeah,
like on the ground, inflation on fucking gold is insane.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like to buy jewelry, to buy physical gold is a lot higher than what you're seeing in the ETFs.
I mean, imagine people going to buy some jewelry thinking it's going to be worth X, and then they get there, it is like a 10% premium. They're like, hold on, what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll tell you this too, boots on the ground. I'm out in Asia, and we went to not even a big jewelry store on like a Tuesday night, and it was fucking packed.
Wow.
Packed, dude. People like lined out the door buying jewelry. So there you go. India is the same way. India is the same exact way right now. Lines out the fucking door. Gold and silver markets are, taking over. In terms of like, because you got to understand too, it's like out in Middle East and Asia is, they use the Hawala system. Like we're seeing the CBDCs use the, we're going to bank the unbanked narrative again, which doesn't mean shit. Those people do not give a fuck to be banked. There's a reason why they're unbanked. It's not because they haven't plopped out a central bank in the middle of the fucking desert. That isn't why they don't have a bank account. They don't want a bank account because they know it's fucking dog shit. And so they just use barter system, which is the Hawala system. And that's what the actual Silk Road was about. The original Silk Road was about a trade route. And people would stop off, and along this trade route, business would get done. But it wasn't through fiat currencies and fucking banks and ATM machines. It was through trading physical fucking goods for more goods, 2 goats for 3 sheep or whatever, right? And so that same thing is still happening. But like, first off, you're never going to get rid of that. No matter how hard they try, no matter how many bank branches they open up, you will never get rid of the over 1 billion people who are on the Huala system. Never. They don't want to be on it. And then secondly, like, yeah, like that value exchange of like precious metals runs fucking deep. Oh, I think whales jumped off, or
Oh damn, my
yeah.
bad. I was on mute, bro. I was talking this whole time. What I was saying was that people aren't just gonna stop doing what works for them just because a group of people want them to. You
Yeah.
know, that just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. We're not gonna stop. So why would anybody else?
Yeah.
It's literally that straightforward. I don't plan to not be in crypto, so they can pretty much kiss my ass. So
Exactly. Just like, with the shit they tried to roll out, like the
mhm.
mandates and you got to do this, but then afterwards telling you that it's your own personal choice if you
Yeah,
got it, and now
how
you got
funny
side
is
effects from
that?
it.
Oh my
Like, I
god.
was never gonna get that.
Yeah, like I'm good, but
What are
thanks
you
for the
talking
heads
about?
up after the fact. Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate you. Yeah, but that just goes to show how you have to know what's right and what's wrong. And you can't be out here making excuses, acting like, oh, but I didn't know. Well, you know what? That's your own fault.
Yeah,
Because
that
guess
ain't a
what?
currency, dude.
They know.
Excuses and fucking after the facts aren't a currency.
Yep.
Nobody accepts that shit as money.
Nope.
So just stop.
Yep. Because people know. People know. That's why they don't, cross certain lines. Otherwise, they would. Right.
Yeah.
So again, when you're thinking about why hex, remember you want to be at the inflation spigot. And the interesting thing about hex is that we actually lose by onboarding people. So we're actually doing them a favor. You be sure to mention that because we're allowing more people into our pool where we're extracting yield from. So when other people come in and take shares, they're taking yield out of your pocket every night. Don't forget it because you're doing
Yeah.
people a favor when you're onboarding them. This is a gift. I think people really forgot that.
Well, I think people onboard all the wrong way in Hex. And, this isn't a shot at them, but it's like the excitement is just like MLM shit back in the day. The excitement gets you, and before you know it, you're dumping all this shit on people, the technicals, the this, the that, and you lost them. You lost them.
Right,
Like the fact that we're even allowing people to dilute our APY, you're welcome.
pretty much.
You're welcome, dude.
hmm
Could shut this shit down right now.
Yep.
And just everything else just plays out.
Good luck. People
You
don't
know what
get
I
it,
mean?
man.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck, dude. Come on. And you're having difficulties onboarding because you're going the wrong route.
Or
You're
you
taking
just
the
don't
wrong
do the
route.
work to understand what you're trying to onboard people to.
Yeah.
It's also an option.
You got to just stop being that clingy girlfriend that's like begging for this shit. Nobody likes somebody begging them for
Yeah.
for the action. You got to be indifferent. You got to know what the fuck you've got. You got to know your value. And that's the piece that I think is missing with a lot of people that try and onboard is that they
100%.
act like the clingy girlfriend instead of acting like the indifferent boss that knows what the fuck he's got.
Yep.
He don't give a fuck if you're going to buy or not. But if you want to, cool. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it'll do for you.
You either
Same
want
shit.
it or you don't.
Yeah, man. Fuck. That's it, dude. Don't
Mhm.
waste a ton of time. That's why it's just so weird to me. People like chasing around Eric Wall and shit still. Fuck that guy. Who gives a fuck about that guy? What?
People are
Why do
still
you need
doing
him
that?
to like
Wow.
Hex for you to have fucking value in this world? Stop.
People are still
Please
doing
stop.
that? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, dude. It's so cringe. Stop.
Keep it moving. I don't ever really discuss these food rules. Anyway,
Anyways.
yeah. So again, this is why it's important to understand what you own, so you're not out here making foolish decisions and missing out on what's coming, which we will get to shortly. So we already went over gold. Now we're talking about Fortune 500 companies, right? The magical FANG stocks, as they're known, which is Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet, or Apple, or really Google. And then, of course, Microsoft, Netflix is also in there at one point in time. Let's see if they got them listed over here.
I think it was up. Yeah, there it
Here we
is.
go. Yep. So they had Berkshire Hathaway thrown in here and Exxon Mobil. Now this is 2015, so don't forget it's a different world. Energy mattered still back then, at least the regular energy. They weren't trying to take it out just yet. You guys can see 616 billion versus. Hold on, where the hell it go? Well, shit. Um, just Facebook alone is 598 billion. That's a 5-year difference for you, right? I mean, was it even here? Wasn't even in this damn list.
That's wild, dude.
In 2015, yeah, damn right.
There was
That's
no
wild.
Fang.
There was no Fang. That's right.
Hmm.
So there you go.
And now they come for 24%. It's more than that now, but
Of course, it was 2 years ago, but this is just a reference point, right? It's just a reference point. And again, we're talking about just 5 years. Hex has been around for only 2, and we're entering the 3rd now. So
yeah, dude, that's fucking wild.
mhm.
What's wild to me is just how stealth this whole thing still is. There's so many
Yep.
people who have no clue this exists.
None.
So fucking magical, dude. I love it. I love it.
None. Well, what's going to be interesting is what we go over later when we start talking about the dollar in detail and how really not many options left for these people.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So let's see here. Getting all stock markets down here. 70 trillion apparently. 89.5 trillion. So you see, that silver number is definitely wrong, bro.
Yeah.
Because
That's
ain't
like
no
one of the
way.
biggest on this on the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, come on, man. Because the stock market's been getting nothing but inflated. How'd that only go up like 10, 20%? Get out of here.
Yeah.
In 5 years? Come on, from 70 trillion to 90 trillion? Yeah, that number's definitely wrong. Let's see here. United States made up 52% of that. NASDAQ and NYSE alone made up for 50%.
Yeah.
That's funny because that's only 2 stock exchanges. The US has many. It's not just 2. There's many. So it's interesting. I wonder if they're really capturing all the exchanges. It's interesting.
Yeah, I do too. I wonder like what this all other exchanges actually represents. Like fucking literally every other one, or
Yeah, because that doesn't really read like it to me. But who knows? We'll see. But let's keep it moving. So money supply, 35. We know that's like doubled by now, so we can just ignore that. Let's see, broad money. Here we go. 80.9 trillion. Is it? 95.3. Yeah. See, everything is up like about the same percent. So that silver number is definitely wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely wrong. But yeah, so now we're looking at all the money in the system, whether it's cash, credit, blah, 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 checks and all of that, coins, right? Everything that you're seeing here, broad money. And then our money is, I guess, supposed to be just the stuff that's easily accessible, cash.
Coins, banknotes, checking deposits.
Yeah, cash and checking, basically. And as you guys can see, 7% is supposedly physical, and 93% is non-physical, meaning electronic. Something to keep in account, right? Something to keep in the back of your head. The next time,
Narrow
next
money
time,
was up higher.
yeah. But the next time somebody says, "Well, I like touching my money," well, tell them you don't touch all your money, because people need to understand that crypto and what they think of as money is exactly the same thing. Only crypto is better.
It's kind of interesting that you've deluded yourself essentially by thinking that piece of paper in your pocket is you touching real money.
Yep.
But 93% of what represents that dollar in your pocket, you never see, you never touch.
Never.
Never.
It's crazy, right?
And what's wild to me is like, okay, let's just touch on this piece for a second. Is you constantly like one of the narratives that still exists with like Hex is like, you know, the ownership, the OA, et cetera, who can possibly dump on you, the whales, et cetera. But it's like, look at all the motherfuckers who contribute to the price and the value of a US dollar going up or down on a daily basis. How many people are involved in that?
Right.
Tens of thousands.
Yep.
Institutions, all kinds of people. They're not fucking calling you up saying, "Hey Jay, is it cool if we go ahead and print some more money today?" They're not asking you as a taxpayer, who, by the way, has to pay for this fucking shit. They're not asking you your opinion on printing more money, or if the bank should get it first, or if you should get it first. They don't give a fuck about you. Like, think about that.
Doing it. They're just doing
How
it.
many points? Yeah, how many points of failure? How many people are involved in touching the process that backs the currency that you claim is more real than this fucking magical internet money? Come on, dude. You gotta get your story straight with this shit. You gotta get your story
At a
straight.
minimum. Like, it's just sad, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And this is the shit you got to drop on people. Like, you want to get them to really wake the fuck up and see the value in something else, like an alternative asset like Hex. That's the shit you say.
Yep. Got to
Wake up, dude.
All money digital. All of it.
Has been. Always has been. Well, not
Always has been.
Long time.
But it's been that way ever since credit cards, really.
Yeah.
That was the whole purpose of it. To make it easier to spend.
Yep.
So we have my favorite topic. The global debt markets. Now, 253 trillion as of 2020, much higher now, guarantee you that. 200 trillion 2015. So it only grew 25% in 5 years somehow, which is clearly a lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the only one that I think is a lie going the other way. That
Right.
number's too low.
Yeah, 100%. Because you gotta remember, they monetize all the debt, so they're buying it up, and making it disappear all at the same time. So it's definitely double that number. And this is why we're seeing all this inflation now, because all this debt is not exclusive to the U.S. It's every nation worldwide is taking on debt, whether in dollar form or otherwise. They're just taking on debt. And you can see it in every economy, because every economy, as far as I know, unless it's just the rich people's economy, is sucking wind.
Yeah. And they've all taken money by, what you got to look at is it's the ECB, it's the BIS, it's the BOA in Japan, or the BOJ, it's the IMF, and then the central banks, the Fed in the US. That's it. That's who makes all the money worldwide.
Pretty much.
Those are the big players.
Pretty much. Now, how does this relate to Hex specifically? Well, again, there's nowhere for people to extract yield from to lend, right? Interestingly enough, even though rates are at all-time highs, the risk is at all-time highs. So nobody's lending anything right now. And the only people that are actually touching money are those that are closest to the money, once again. And that sounds familiar if you're a Hex staker. Maybe not if you're not one. But this is the whole point of Hex. It puts you directly at the forefront of the inflation. You at your leisure, however you like, right? Like that's like, oh man, it's so crazy that people don't get that. That's why
it really is.
Yeah,
it really is, dude. Like, fuck, man.
It's like,
It does my head in.
Yeah, imagine wanting to catch all of, like, let's say it's like one of them Nickelodeon TV shows, right? Where they put you in one of them things where the money is getting just tossed all around. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. And you gotta catch it all.
Yeah, and you gotta try to catch it all. This is just like that, except you don't gotta try to catch it all. It just comes to you.
Yeah, like, yeah,
literally the same thing.
Let's time out for a second. Have we painted the picture clear enough? You've got inflation, which is chipping away at your money. You've got taxes, which is chipping away at your money. You're paying somewhere between 9 to 30% on your credit cards. There's no savings APY left on a savings account. Like, there is nowhere for you to go make money. You think your house has value, but it's just because it's being devalued so much that the dollar amount is going up. You're not making more money magically on your land.
I out the other day saying just that. Do not confuse an appreciating asset with a depreciating fiat currency.
Yes. So your house has not gone up in value. The dollar's just gone down that much in value.
Yep. You've been living a lie this whole time.
Like, all of this is chipping away at you, at your ability to try and grab value and extract value for yourself.
Yep.
I don't know of anything else outside of Hex that puts that ball back in your court in such a significant fucking way. Like, holy shit, dude. I just
Literally.
come on.
Literally.
That's it, man.
Literally, bro. I don't even know how else to put it. Like, that's very straightforward. Because that's the whole point of Hex. It puts the ball back in your court. It gives you the ability to earn yield on your capital at your leisure. And that's it.
Yeah.
The amount of T-shares you have actually don't matter. And I think people need to really wrap their head around that. Because what you're laying down is what you're earning money on. So you're making your money. The share count doesn't actually matter, but you better get you some shares. Otherwise, you're not earning no yield.
100%.
Yeah, so
and you could do the same shit if you want to. I was just thinking about this. If you want to like print out and make your own like fucking hex dollars or something, do it. Put those in your wallet. Like put those on the wall. Do something with it. If you need to like feel that physicality, like you feel like you do with dollars to represent something, then figure out a way in a metric means to like print that out and do that. There you go.
Yep.
Fuck, we should do that, bro. We should come up with some badass designs for different currency denominations for like hex dollars and give that out for free so people can print that shit.
Oh, sure.
Somebody work on that in the chat.
There you go.
I know there's a graphic designer out there. Do it. Because I'm telling you, people need that shit. People need to feel that. If you need to feel the physical, then do it.
Thanks for the super chat, bro, but next time don't. How can I transfer money that is in my mind into my bank? Well, got bad news for you, bro. You cannot. Thank you for $10 though, bro. Appreciate you. Oh man, too funny. Oh, but yeah, so debt, right? What's the point of debt? The point of debt is for people to use it to kind of replace capital or leverage an ability that they have, even if they don't have capital, right? And that's the whole point of debt. Now, the other side of that coin is that somebody has to be willing to make that loan now. Somebody has to be willing to take on that debt or lend or make that debt, excuse me. And that is where Hex ultimately comes in the future because, again, going to be the only ones with yield. Hex is going to ultimately be a reserve asset. I mean, it's not really much of a choice there. It's just designed to be that. There's a reason people do not understand it. And I mean, this is, in my mind, just a piece of the opportunity that exists with respect to Hex. 253 trillion. And motherfuckers out here talking about, I don't understand how Hex can be 1,000 a coin. The market cap gonna be too big. All right. You keep thinking that.
Yeah, dude. There's no limit to what Hex can become. And when you start to really, truly understand that, then you'll start to behave
look at this shit, man. Y'all motherfuckers are all stupid. Y'all all need to go do some damn research. All right. This isn't.
Oh, they don't even have real estate.
All right.
What the fuck?
So Hex literally replaces the need for anybody to have to deal with real estate in the physical sense because it provides a better yield, hands down. Period. Not even a debate. Period. And this is the market opportunity there. And this was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Y'all motherfuckers need to study up. If you do not understand how Hex can be $10,000 a coin, your little world view is irrelevant. Literally irrelevant. And matter of fact, this link is why. And it's 2 years old. Okay? So all them suckers that just sold all their Hex, golf clap.
Yeah, thank you for your sacrifice.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. Because we sure as hell about to ride this motherfucker to the moon. Too funny. Too funny. I mean, I just don't know where people make these decisions based on. Like, I just don't understand what they're looking at.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, bro. It's insane.
Well, it's like you say this a lot. Is it's like what changed between yesterday and today?
Not a damn
Yesterday
thing.
you were holding and you were fine, bro. You were fucking fine yesterday. What the fuck happened today? All of a sudden you're panic selling and it's all going to zero and like whatever else is in your brain. But like today you're selling. There's something wrong with you. Nothing has changed with the protocol. Nothing.
Nothing.
But you
man.
sold. Why? Because you're fucked up in the head. That's why.
Literally.
You need to get some help.
Yo, it's so freaking.
You need to talk to somebody. For real. Take all that, take those few dollars you made and go invest in a fucking shrink.
Literally. And that's best case.
Yeah, dude. For real.
That's best case. Now, you guys got to realize HEX is a high yield instrument. Okay? Now, with a 1 year stake, you're making 10% just for holding. All right, really, it's 11% or more, but whatever. Point is, double digit yield for 1 year. You're not finding that anywhere.
Nowhere. Yeah, nowhere.
Period. For 1 year. And definitely not risk free, which is basically what HEX is. Now, when you sit here and you take into account the fact that you're getting solely paid in crypto and you're buying the dip every day, I mean, wow. Once this thing takes off, because people forget how fast HEX moves. And they're going to be reminded. And I'm not going to be the one to remind them. The chart's going to remind them because I'm not saying anything any longer. Like this is as much alpha as I be giving out, and it's happening on these streams here because people are just moronic, clearly, and it's evident in the price action because people are deciding to make that decision to sell. It is not robots here. It is literally people, and it's hard for people to wrap their head around that. But that's why we've been going down and sideways for the last 7 months because people are deciding to dump their position. Nothing else.
Yeah. Think of how many hundreds, if not thousands, of people have all raised their hand and willingly decided to lose. That's fucked up.
Literally.
That's fucked up.
Literally.
Ooh, choose me last. Choose me last. I want to suffer. I want to suffer.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Literally.
What's wrong with you, dude?
Literally. I mean, how crazy is that? You know, people know. I mean, I'm assuming that if you're in markets, you have an idea that making money while you sleep is a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just guesstimating that that's one of like the basic tenets of money. You know, maybe people need to like look that up. Like, what are the rules of money? You know, like you're not doing much of anything if you're not earning any yield. Like, if you think capital appreciation is the only thing that's going to do you favors, you're wrong. You got to have something that's making you money while you sleep. It's just the nature of the game. So much so that the most famous investors in our lifetime are known for just that. Finding investments that generate yield and capital appreciation, because it's not easy, right? And here with HEX, we have it all in one shot. We have something that replaces debt markets. We have something that facilitates loans. We have something that facilitates capital appreciation. We have something that facilitates basically real estate. I mean, it replicates it. I mean, you can't lose. You know, you really can't lose if you got the capital to lay down on this system in such a way that you know, if you have a sizable bag or in terms of fiat, you can come in and just start living off this system. You don't even have to work. That's how powerful this system is.
Those who stick with this the longest will be recognized as genius investors in the future.
100%.
There's no way you can't.
People that invested in Apple are going to be looking at us like we're gods. Yeah. Fact.
Which is why, like, the thing that you see going on right now is it's a pandemic, all right, but it's a fucking mental pandemic. There's a mental health crisis occurring and unfolding, unraveling right in front of all of us. It's called fucking stupidity, naivety, comfort, complacency. That's the real fucking virus. And it's got a lot of people by the balls.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's what's really going on. Because, again, like how we lay this out and the data that we share with you, I don't understand how you could come to any other conclusion other than buy a fuckload of HEX, stake it for as long as you can, and chill. That's it, dude.
And I mean, never mind the fact that we're laying out all the angles as to why this is probably the best decision you can make.
Yeah, we're talking about the same shit in different ways every single week. That's the way I see it. It's like we're saying the same shit, but we're just using different references and different stories. And so somehow, some way, hopefully this is bypassing the critical factor in your brain and more people are understanding. Yeah. That's it. That's what I hope for.
Yeah. I mean, just look at this, right? We're talking about apparently global wealth is at 360 trillion. But we just counted more than that between real estate and debt. 280, 253. So what is exactly this number supposed to be? Interesting. But again, that's wealth that maybe is just sitting in cash. Maybe it's not invested capital. We don't actually know. But here are the derivatives.
Oh, right? My favorite part.
Yeah. I mean, this is the low end. The low end is 558 trillion. And we'll talk about the difference between gross and notional. They don't even have this in the 2015 version. No. So the low end is 558. The high end is, here we go. Are you ready? $250 dollars. And they probably just picked that because they didn't want to give you the real number.
Yeah, I think that's low. So derivatives markets, let's just, in case you didn't know, it's basically paper markets. It's the fractionalization of real shit stretched out over as many other fake little things that they possibly can do. That's it.
That's it.
That's ETFs, that's fucking whatever you want to name on it. CDOs, debt compiled and put into tranches. That's as much shit that they can repurpose and stretch out over and over and over and over and over again is what this is.
Literally, right? So let's see if they even talk about notional versus all right. So gross value is the dollar amount that's actually put on the table for the bet, and the notional value is what it's actually worth. So say for example, let me see something if they got. Yeah. So this is basically the trade. Derivatives are typically measured in two different ways: gross market or notional. The market value is what you put down. As you guys see here, it's 100 shares at $1 per contract, which equals $100. But each contract's value is actually $50. So you're actually controlling $5,000 worth of whatever that contract is. So in reality, you're actually levered 50 to 1. Right? And this is what derivatives trading is. In short.
High risk. High motherfucking risk.
Yeah, this is why I trade options, for example. I don't play around in crypto. It's not like the consistency of money in crypto is not as good as playing in a derivatives market. If you know what you're doing, it's just not.
Well, the scary thing about derivatives too is that this has been the leading driver to every single economic crash since the .com bubble.
Every time.
Every single one. Most people don't know. The day before,
actually, even since the Russian one, the Asian crisis, actually.
Yeah, true. Good point. The repo crisis, for example, the day before they started doing that and opened up the floodgates of all that money, there was somebody who was once again overextended billions on fucking derivatives.
Yeah,
look at what just happened.
Asset-backed loans back in, you talking about 2007?
Hold on. I think I got the data right here. Let me actually grab the fucking guy's name.
Because I remember, man, when I was first getting in college, I was trying to do electrical engineering, and my math just was not up to par. This was back in '07, and everything was just starting off. It was just starting. It had really took off in the spring. You know how everything kind of cracked in March
Mm-hmm.
'07 when bears
Mm-hmm.
went belly up, and then Lehman, and things were just really starting. And then I started school the following fall, and I really didn't know anything, but this thing was still happening, and it was really it was really calling my attention. And then all of a sudden, I had like a little funky project in one of these computer classes where I had to like do a PowerPoint, and we had to play with like Excel and make charts and all, the little basic computer course, and they make you do all this little dumb crap. And we had to do something with some stock tickers, and it was just that point in time where that was like one of those things that if that wouldn't have probably happened, I probably wouldn't even be here right now. Because it just piqued my interest a little bit further. Everything was just falling apart. It was in the news everywhere. I mean, it was just crazy back then. You had this Kramer clown all over the TV. It was bananas, bro. And he was telling people that it was all good, and it was not. And
I remember that. I remember that.
wow.
Well, okay. So what happened with Lehman and J.P. Morgan and everyone else who was in that meeting in that room? They were all on the wrong side of derivatives trades.
Yep.
But they decided to hang out Lehman because J.P. Morgan wanted to acquire them at pennies on a dollar, and it did. So, but the same thing happened in the day before the September 16th, 2019, before the repo crisis hit. Thomas Cook was on the wrong side of a trade worth about 2.7 billion or more, and that's what caused that to occur. But if you look, the same thing just happened again with the fucking Chinese billionaire who was just bailed out for being on the wrong side of a derivatives trade. So do you see what's the common corollary here? What's the common denominator? Derivatives trades going bad because they don't understand just how deep and how thick this shit stacks and compounds.
Yep. Every
the
time.
position size turns out to be billions, and it's like one day they wake up and they're like, oh fuck, I don't have enough for this. No shit.
Literally.
And that moves markets because the real value of that is so fucking big. All it takes is one guy with a big enough book to take down the entire system. How does that not scare you more than fucking holding Hex or staking Hex because of Richard or the OA or whatever? Again, I'm just trying to make corollaries here. How is that less scary?
Check this out, dude. This is how fucked things are. Here they put 630 trillion on low end, high end as high as 1.2 quadrillion. But here's what they put. And this is from 6-7 years ago now. The truth is that no one really knows the exact size of the market.
Bingo. That's the truth.
That's the truth.
That's the truth. Nobody fucking knows. Because that's why all of a sudden out of nowhere, if the market moves, okay, get this. Get this. The market moved, what was it? 2%. And that wiped out billions of dollars of derivatives and completely jeopardized the entire financial system globally off of a 2% move. So you tell me how dangerous fucking derivatives are. Really think about this for a second. A 2% move in the stock market drove that action and was the cause of that to occur. That's fucking scary, dude. That is terrifying.
Very.
But you're more scared of the magical internet money than that?
It's funny, isn't it?
Fuck, dude.
I mean, look, man, as a person that's been working on Wall Street for 10, 12 years, what you have to realize is that all the dogmas that exist elsewhere exist there just as much. The people that exist in that industry are not really as smart as they think. They just think that they're smart. Right?
And they look smart. They look smart with suits and glasses.
Yeah. I would say they look like thieves. Because that's exactly what thieves actually dress up like. Right?
Yeah.
Like a thief is a person that's being duplicitous, smiling in your face and stealing behind your back. Right? I'd rather somebody come put a gun in my face and say, give me whatever you got. At least that's respectable.
It's heads up. It's heads up poker at that point, at
Yeah,
least.
exactly. I got a fighting chance, but these people don't even let you be able to fight, right? I mean, look at what they do on social media. You can't even talk about what you want. We can't even have a clear and open conversation. I gotta mask what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
That's the only reason I've never been, banned or whatever. Right? My channel's never been taken off, and there's skill behind that. So take notes for those new and upcoming streamers. Don't succumb to the stupidity of thinking you can say what you want, because guess what? If you're on this platform, you cannot. Pretty simple.
Yeah, you can talk kind of sort of about some of the things that you like.
You got to know how to talk about them. I talk about
Yeah.
whatever I want, but I know how to talk about it, right?
Yeah, true.
And that's all it's about. It's about knowing how to get your message across and having people understand you. It's not really about anything else. And and this is why we go through these macro streams, because we don't really dive into the nitty gritty of how, the what, the this and that, right? Like now we need to understand, well, what's going on in rates that, I mean, oof. All right, let me break this out. So right now we're looking at the 30-year versus the 20-year. Again, harping on that long end of the curve, because it should be costlier to borrow at a 30-year rate relative to a 20-year rate, but that's not what's happening.
The impossible is happening
The
once again.
impossible is happening once again. That's right. But then when you go down to the 30 versus 10, it got close to that zero line, and it bounced off of it. It didn't breach it just yet. So it's something to watch, but we are in the danger zone, right? I mean, we went over this before on the previous macro stream. Um,
Ad nauseum, by the way.
yeah,
Actually, this is
yeah,
real magic if you think about it. Doing the impossible. That is real magic.
literally.
We
Word
are
is
watching magic in real time, folks.
Yeah, the sturdy 10 stopped at 1.5 basis points. So hop, skip, and a jump away from zero. Let's see, the 30 minus 5, it actually inverted and went minus 0.12%, finishing at a low of 0.14%, minus 0.14. And then it just catapulted higher. Will it stay there? We don't know, but we are in recession territory no matter what. And that's kind of the point of this conversation. I mean, that's what's coming, right?
Yeah,
So if
again,
you think
again.
things are bad now, just wait. They're gonna get worse. And that's why you got to be positioned now. Don't wait, because at that point it's too late. So
Mhm.
you and this is kind of what's driving now, right? The rate increase, right? The further you come closest to the curve in terms of tenor, or in terms of timelines, like 5 versus 10, you can see uh, the yield is, or the spread is almost zero, right? But then here it says what is this? 10 versus 2, you widen that out, the spread is 40 basis points, right? It's 10x, because here you're just looking at two, what is that, 5-year difference versus an 8-year difference. So, but then here you're looking at a 25-year difference. Here you're looking at a 20-year difference, and here you're looking at a 10-year difference, right? So you're looking at all these time differences, and what's the difference in the cost of borrowing between those 2 points of time, right? And then you come here and you look at what's actually happening, and it's like, whoa! Imagine your rent started at $100, and then all of a sudden it was at 300. That is
Yeah,
not sustainable,
yeah, same
and
shit.
and that's what's happening, right? And that's just at the 30-year mark. I mean, the closer you go in, the uglier the picture gets, and that's just the nature of the beast, because that's how the cookie crumbles. Because what's happening is, again, that currency effect is taking hold,
Yeah.
right? And what you guys might not know, if you haven't been paying attention for the past 10 years, is that there's been an ongoing currency war going on where every central bank is just trying to debase their currency to zero the quickest. That's all that's been happening for the past 12 years. This is what all of the quantitative easing has been about. It's not been about anything else. It's just been about debasing the currency in a stealth way, taxing you into oblivion, and just trying to crash the system finally so that they can get the changes that they want. And I mean, they've been broadcasting them for the past year. So it's not like I'm making that part up. You can go
Yeah,
see it.
they're being very obvious and in your face about it now,
Oh,
telling you
yeah.
exactly what they want.
Yep. Yep.
And so
So go ahead, man.
the entire thing is propped up by the Fed now. There is
Mhm.
no value in the stock. There is no value in the asset you're looking at. There's no research to be done. Fuck the fundamentals. None of that shit actually matters. Everything is propped up by the Fed's ability to buy, and now what's going to happen with rates. Everything, your cryptos, your fucking stock market, everything is now, based on that. Is like being driven by those two pieces, like what the Fed is buying and what the rate is, the interest rates. That's it. That's driving the entire global market now, which is insane. It's actually insane to see that at such a deep level now being the primary driver.
And, like, no problem too. It's just like, okay. That's what's crazy. Because it's not like this has just happened. Like this happened intentionally. Everybody knew this was gonna happen. People acting. I mean, look. I think. I think act. Uh, how do I say this, man? Um, Look, I've been watching this happen literally the whole time it's been happening. I got out of the military 2006, 2007. Thought I was gonna go into real estate. Went to a class. Was standing room only. Realized that was a market I probably didn't want to be a part of because it was standing room only. I didn't know anything then, but I followed my instincts, and that was good enough. Because ultimately that market crashed. And the reason it crashed is because everybody was trying to play that market. What's happening now? Everybody's trying to play what markets? You name them out. You know them all.
Yeah,
NFTs, stocks, all the BS that you hear.
and we've
That's
shown this.
and
We've
we
shown this in that chart. Real assets versus essentially fake assets. Where's all the money sitting? Fake assets,
Mhm.
equities. Yeah, so we've
Yep.
shown this. Like the data's there. We're not just like opinionating. It's all there.
Oh no, yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think if anybody's watching this and it's not their first time, they know that for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, just looking at this cost of borrow, right? This is just crazy. I mean, the velocity at which the increase has happened. Look at this. We're talking about going from nothing. What is this? Is this the lowest 0.105? Probably, yep. Imagine your cost of borrow just jumping a clean 23x in a year and a half. Hell of a way to get business done.
Yeah, man.
Hell of a way to
That's
get a
wild.
business done, right? I mean, okay. So why does this matter? Well, ultimately, as I explained earlier, all of these dollars have to come back. All these dollars that went offshore and have been hiding offshore for this whole time, right? Now they have to come back. And here's the thing that you don't know. You can't even see how long it's been that these dollars have been going offshore because they don't want you to see all that data, but it's actually been happening since the 60s. Since the 60s, there's been an offshore dollar market in one way, shape, or another. And now all those dollars have to come home. And this is why the dollar has to increase to levels never seen. first. It has to do that. Not an option. I mean, if you look at it versus the yen, for example, it's already happening in some instances. I mean, it's traversing all time highs now since 2015, 2003, 2000, 98, Asian crisis. So we're already making the moves. I mean, let's run to the Euro USD. Where is that? Is that here? No, I don't got it here. Let's see what's going on here. Look at this. The last time the dollar went in this direction, what happened? Stock tech bubble. This time it happened in the opposite direction, but the reason it happened in the opposite direction this time is because at the time the euro was a different kind of currency. They weren't printing it into oblivion. It wasn't a race to the bottom. The narrative was different for the euro at that time. Just the demeanor around it was different. They were still trying to sell the lie, right? That ultimately ended. But it didn't end here. And this is what we're seeing in the chart, because this is the value of the euro going up, and this is the value of the euro since then. So it's been a battle to zero since the top in 2008. And the thing is that you have to understand that the dollar itself is a composite of currencies, and the biggest proportion of that composite is actually the euro at like 58 or 60%, something like that. Um, so when the euro is going down, the dollar is going up. And by the way this looks to me, um, not sure this is getting up anytime soon. Let's see. See if I got a longer term chart here. Nope. Oh, yes. All right. Let's get 34 days on this bad boy. Yeah, this is not bullish at all. So, yeah. But again, if you're looking at this going back to 1972, what happened? Well, the euro was going up, came back down, savings and loan crisis, early 80s. If you don't know, look it up. But this is what? Dollars coming back off onshore because they were sending them offshore. And you would have to go back and search this and go through all that to see that what I'm saying is true. But this is what was actually happening. And the savings and loan crisis happened because these dollars came back onshore. They could no longer be hidden offshore. So the whole scheme fell apart. And what ended up happening is they found a way to get them offshore again. Because our whole game in terms of an economy is debasing our currency and exporting our products and services offshore and selling them in dollars and selling debt in dollars. That's the American economy. Financialization, hyper financialization has been the freight train of the past 20 years. And this is the end result, right? I mean, just look at this. You've gone nowhere, literally, in 20 years. Literally, nowhere. And this is just against the biggest composite of the dollar currency itself. So when you're looking at the dollar itself, it's a piece of the euro, a piece of the renminbi, a piece of what is the other one? The yen, and a piece of the pound. Right. So basically those five currencies. Um, and this is what you see. Now, when we look at the pound, it's a little different story. Um, let's go with IDC. See, it's a little different story than the euro because the political impact, the geopolitical impact is a little different. The economic structure is a little different. The power stance within this economy is a little different as well. So understanding those little differences make a better, clearer picture. For example, the pound versus the dollar is $1.30 versus what you saw with the euro versus a dollar, which is $1.08. So there's more value in the pound relative to the euro. So there's a reason for that. And knowing the history and all those little things of how the euro even came to be will help you understand the difference in that, because you would have to understand what happened in the early 80s and then again in the early 90s, and when they broke the pound and blah blah blah. So all of those things play a part in why the pound is valued greatly or greater versus the euro versus the dollar. So, how do you wrap all of this crap into your head, right? It's almost like all these moving pieces to this puzzle. And how do you fit it all snugly into this picture that, oh, well, the end result is trying to find a high capital appreciating asset where, you can only get yield here. I mean, the fact that Hex exists literally at this point in time probably makes us the luckiest group of people ever to exist.
Yeah, gotta be.
Hands down. Because, I don't know if people, like the impact of what's about to come. We're just seeing the start of this, honestly. I mean, look at where the dollar started versus the yen. And this is just back to 75 that you can see. That you can see. Because it's data going back 20 years that you cannot see.
Yeah.
I mean,
the size of this move, this could be the biggest move you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Easily.
I mean, there were people.
Fiats don't last that long.
Dude, I've heard stories of people that lost their whole careers over this one weekend from the Plaza Accord from the 80s. Because people do not understand risk and how quickly things change. I mean, the person that I'm talking about thought this shit was going to continue going up. But what happened? Wham!
Rug pulled.
Because he didn't grasp what the government's goal is. And it's control. The only way to control is through finances. Because that's controlling what incentivizes people to act. Literally. So, you take all of this stuff into account, you realize that dollars have to come on shore because they're not being accepted anywhere else any longer. So where else are they going to go? They have to come back here. And this is why you're now about to see these outsized moves in dollar cross pairs and just in the dollar itself. Let's see if we can get a better dollar representation here. Is that the one I'm looking at? Probably not. Let's see. Ah, yes. Here we go. Goody. So here we go. 60%. A 60% move back to the all-time high in 1984 wouldn't even be crazy.
And that move would utterly fucking destroy millions of people.
Yep. And then you would just see it, whoop, collapse right back.
And I mean,
literally could happen.
Just look at how the current administration has handled inflation. The blame game, the pointing fingers, oh, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to fix that, but they're not fixing anything. So do you think if this started to happen, because the move's already started, and it started to get obvious is a better way for me to put that, and it started to get really, really obvious, what do you think their response is going to be besides getting on TV and saying, we'll fix it? besides saying, we promise we'll do something, and then stuttering and stammering and walking the wrong direction on stage and looking like a loser. What else do you think they're going to be able to do? Nothing. Literally nothing.
I mean, what options are there? Honestly, none.
Get a big ass fire stove in the middle of Wall Street and start throwing dollars in it. Everyone shows up and everyone throws their dollars in it.
Oh my god. Oh, that was funny, man. Because that's literally about it.
I can't think of anything else.
Nah. So okay. So what does it mean now that all these dollars are coming back on shore? Well, look, what that means is that nobody else wants them. So they're not worth as much as you thought. So just because there's going to be more of them floating around now, that means that more of those dollars are going to be chasing the same goods and services that currently exist, meaning that the value of those current goods and services are going to go up in dollar terms, meaning that the dollar is worth that much less because there's that many more dollars in circulation now on shore. So the swimming pool just got deeper and we're about to get flooded basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Same kind of shit you've seen in Zimbabwe, in Venezuela, in Argentina,
Yep.
Turkey. Same shit again.
Yep. Lebanon, etc. Wash, rinse, repeat. Fiat is fiat is fiat. And until we don't learn to step away from that as a species, we're going to keep suffering the same economic ailments on repeat.
Yeah.
It's just a fact of life. Doesn't matter what you think. Your opinions are irrelevant. The math says otherwise. And this is why Hex is the best. Because Hex literally lays into all of these economic issues that we're harping on point by point and nails them each. It gives you the inflation. It gives you the ability to issue debt. It gives you the ability to make loans. It gives you the ability to determine what you do with your capital with your time. It gives you the optionality to do whatever you want as long as you understand what you're doing. And that's the beauty behind Hex. This is why it's going to take over, right? So, what's happened most recently? Man, I got to pull this thing up because it's that serious. BlackRock. Is this it?
Oh shit! Oops. Oopsies.
BlackRock to manage USDC's 50 billion as custodian. Stable coins go fractional reserve. Now, Jay, let me ask you, do you remember what this guy was saying about cryptos like last year or maybe even the year before, maybe even 2 months ago? Like who knows? Like this guy was just shit talking crypto like the other day.
Yep.
Wonder
And
what
now he's at the front of it. Conveniently, just like always.
Placed at the forefront of all cryptocurrency exchange. Boop, like a pawn.
Yeah.
Magic.
Magically, just ta-da! Just like same shit happened with J.P. Morgan and Jamie Dimon. Same shit happened. They're at the front too.
Funny how that happens. Huh?
So it's scam, 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 scam. I'm at the front of the line. How the fuck did you just get to the front of the line, bro?
Never fails.
You got a good story to be cutting in front of so many people, dude. What's your story?
I mean, we got people that have been in this business for fucking 10 years, sweating, creating a stable coin, and here he goes, just walking right on it.
And just boom, illegal hijack right there, right in front of you.
Hijack,
and they're putting it out in the news like it's fucking news, like it's a good thing. Celebrate this shit.
What's funny is when these BTC maxis and then these Ethereum maxis celebrate this. Just goes to show the level of ignorance.
Just like how they celebrate fucking ETFs coming. Dumb motherfuckers.
Pretty much.
Every time I see that shit, I jump in and I tell them how stupid they are.
I can't even help.
I can't help myself, dude. It's like a visceral reaction. I have to slap somebody. I see that shit.
Oh my god, too funny, bro. So let's see here. The world's biggest asset manager, in case you didn't know, they are the biggest asset manager. They just needed another
10 trillion.
They just needed another 50 billion. That's nothing.
That's nothing.
That's another 50 billion. Who cares? But what is that gonna do to you? Nothing. Whatever. Grabbing up USDC's fiat reserves to asset manage. How convenient. With the BlackRock partnership, we are expanding on our existing relationship with BlackRock for managing significant assets for the reserves that back USDC to explore new ways that USDC can be adopted in TradFi capital market applications, whatever that means. I don't know what the fuck that means, but whatever that
I don't
means. Um, no
I think that's
further.
what they're calling. I think that's what they're calling the emergence of like legacy and crypto is TradeFi.
Shit.
It's like Web3, right? Nobody knows what the fuck it is.
That's funny, man. Oh my god. All right. No further detail was provided on how exactly these funds will be invested, with this fairly big announcement made in passing as the company said they raised 400. Wait. They needed to raise more money on top of the 50 billion they already. All right. I guess they needed not 49 point, or let me think about this. Yes, they didn't need the 49.6 billion. They needed the 50 billion. Got it. Because they just raised 400 billion or 400 million from Fidelity, Marshall Wace, Finn Capital, and of course, BlackRock. Circle, a company with a portfolio when they were founded, raised, or without a portfolio when they were founded in 2016, raised 150 million from who? Goldman
Goldman Sachs.
Sachs, at a time where banks were seen with considerable suspicion in the crypto space, but somehow not USDC when it came to Goldman Sachs. Funny how
How
that.
does that happen? How did they just get 150 mil? What was it? Did they have a? They must have had. You know what it was? They must have had a good roadmap, bro. They must have had a solid ass roadmap.
Must have been that
That's what
roadmap.
it was. That's what it was. Yeah.
Must have been that website and that
Yep.
roadmap. It
Yep.
was definitely
Yep.
the website. The website must have
Definitely.
told them.
Yeah. And the Discord. They had a Discord.
Oh shit! You know what? They must have had like a killer Telegram too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Must have.
Yeah, must have. I mean, there's no other way that they just got that 150 million out of nowhere, right?
Oh
Yo,
shit, dude.
it's mad funny, bro. Oh my god. All right. After attempting numerous projects, they found significant success in USDC, a copy of Tether's USDT. I don't even know if this is accurate. With USDC now crossing 50 billion in market cap. Is that true? Is USDC a copy of Tether? I didn't know that.
I
I
didn't know
don't
that
know.
either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about stablecoins, so I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Uh,
All I know is this: is U.S. dollar tether is huge in Asia. Like
oh yeah,
everyone,
that's
like
what owns
there's
Bitcoin, bro.
yeah, there's like all this shit talking like oh, U.S. dollar tether's bad, blah blah blah. Which it probably is. It probably is the Ponzi that everyone's claiming that it is. I mean, everything's a Ponzi.
Yeah,
But like out in Asia, nobody gives a fuck about USDC. Nobody.
that's
It's
funny.
like it's like a 1% of the market that you see in
And it's
USDC.
so illiquid too. That's what's funny about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty illiquid. USDT is pretty illiquid. It's not that liquid, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, like daily volume will be, on a given exchange will be like 50 billion a day in USDT. And
Yeah,
USDC
but
it'll be like 2.
yeah, that's the interesting thing. The plumbing over there is just significantly different. I don't think
Yep.
we can even see it over here. You
Yeah.
probably have access to shit that we can't see over here.
Yeah.
So, that's gonna make a big difference when analyzing markets and what coin makes sense. Like that's one thing I've figured out is that some of the things you see are actually regional. They're not
Yeah.
actually global. And it's hard for people to process that because, like, for example, my gas will typically be expensive because I live in freaking New York, bro. Unless I'm using a VPN routing through Wyoming, my shit's gonna be expensive. You know what I'm saying? Because my network is based on New York networks. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's just how the cookie crumbles. That just like you pay for your gas, it costs more here because I live in New York than if I was to live in Idaho, for example, right? Like it's just gonna cost more, just because there's more people here, yada yada. So let's keep reading this craziness. $50 billion market cap. All right. Tether initially came under intense scrutiny as the market tried to establish whether it was USD backed or whether it was just fiction, which is funny because we just noted everything is fiction. Um, the answer in the end was more another question. What does back exactly mean? Blah blah blah. Anyway, all right. Let's see here. Crypto fiat versus fiat dollar. Or well, you guys know what the hell I mean. It's all the same. USDT is not precise one to one with USD as far as da 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 da. All right, so this is just a bunch of BS. Let's see the fight for yield. Let's see what this talks about. A most astonishing offer is being made to Brits by their banks. Send your savings to bonds. I don't know what this means. Is this even the same article? Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Let's see. The terms are 30%, 30 basis points a month, which I guess isn't too bad. For them, minimum £500. Oh, but look, cannot be touched under any circumstances during this period. What that means, what this is funny. What this means in fiat is that they're actually that money that you cannot touch is actually not there. That's what that means in fiat. So all those things that they say about Hex and how you can't access your money and all this shit and it's being used and washed and blah blah blah. Nah, that actually is what happens in the fiat markets. In legacy markets, when you cannot access your money, is because they're using it. They're investing it elsewhere, literally loaning it out, yada yada, whatever you want to call it. That's literally what's happening. Just so you know.
Boom.
Yeah. So this is them talking about a program that's being offered to Brits. Let's see, that's 4% a year to not touch your money, $500. I mean, you're not getting anything clearly. Let's see, $3 and you can't even touch your money, but $3 is still better than zero. Da, 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 da. And currently, both by damn, that's what they're giving these people in crypto dollars. Holy shit! I thought that was like fiat dollars, bro. I'm sorry. Oof. But anyways, but you guys see what's going on. They're entering the system because they're realizing they don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, and they want that on their books, so they take it.
They'll
Here
take
they
it.
are.
That's AUM on the books for them as well. They get to charge them fees. And here's a 10 trillion number that Jay said earlier. And that's as of January 22. So that's a fresh number. That's from the other day.
Yes, sir.
So, and keep in mind, this company that is now the biggest asset manager hasn't even been around for 40 years.
Yeah, this has got fucking blow up written all over it in the next 20 years or less. That's my prediction.
Well,
I don't think
know if
BlackRock's
it's
going to be around.
I don't think it's going to take 20 years, but you're generous enough to give them that.
I'm being
much.
generous, yes.
Yeah.
Also, too, I'm also making it very easy for me to be right. That's really the real reason.
right. Yo,
Shit.
this is insane, man.
That's an easy bet.
Imagine, how are you managing 10 trillions in assets?
Yeah, how do you do that, by the way? How the fuck do you manage 10 trillion? Like, what does that spreadsheet look like, bro?
Well, let's think about it for a second. You and I and everybody in this chat cannot even move $9,999 without somebody breathing down our fucking neck.
Yep.
However, these motherfuckers right here manage 10 trillion dollars.
Yeah, I mean, what are they moving daily? What are they moving? Damn, dude. There's got to be a lot.
That's an understatement.
There's got to be a lot that they're moving around each day.
That's an understatement, brother.
And then layering bids in and out to not move and break an entire market. Like, that's a fucking art.
I mean, if you think about it, let's assume they only manage equities. They manage a fifth of the equity market, 10 trillion. Equity market is 50 trillion.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Imagine being 20% of the market.
And now use that, and people were crying about Elon Musk buying Twitter. Like, that ain't shit compared to this.
Nothing. Let's see. 400 million. So basically the same stuff. Yeah, nothing special here.
Yeah, same shit.
But as you guys can see, this is acquiescement, right? This is them saying they have to get in the game, otherwise they're gonna get left behind. Because what other reason would they have to be managing these 50 billion? BlackRock doesn't have any business in here. Remember, they look down on crypto, right? So what changed? Something changed. Something changed in the past year, really 6 months, that they decided to change their tune, because that is not the tune they were singing mere months ago. Nah. Let's see. Let's look.
Just do BlackRock crypto or something.
Let's see here. Yeah, this was later on. Damn, that's all this positive press on that shit.
If you've been around long enough, you remember.
Yeah, you know that they definitely was not positive on this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that long ago. Wasn't. It was the other day.
Yeah, I want to say maybe end of last year or something.
Yeah, like that's exactly why I look like for past 6 months. So this is some funkiness. Let's see something. BlackRock AUM dropped below 10 trillion, wars fees, maybe pressurized. Maybe this is why they did it. Interesting. Might be why they did it.
Yeah, hurt by economic activity from the first quarter. I was reading at that beginning. It's interesting.
Yeah, because for them, I've never seen a negative headline on them.
Yeah.
Never. Not in my whole existence on Wall Street. So this is brand new to me. Outside of inflows and outflows, which is whatever, that doesn't really matter. I've never really seen any.
Yeah, I just remember seeing over the last couple of years, like the headlines I was seeing was, oh, now
Negative.
it's 8 trillion. Now it's 10 trillion, in management.
So here's a setup. I didn't even catch this. BlackRock CEO believes crypto settlements are the future. This was in March. So I didn't catch
I didn't
this.
see this either.
Yeah, they snuck that shit by us, bro. Because we would have definitely been like, oh, they're coming. Because this is obvious now. I didn't see this.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, bullish on crypto. Oh, magically. We can't say this. I don't know if you've gotten the email, but they'll blank us.
Yeah, we can't. We can't talk about this.
That's it.
Yeah, Google sent out an email saying that basically like a monetization update email that you can't talk about that at all, essentially, because if they don't like what you're saying, then they're going to deem it as misinformation and denial of what's occurring.
Funny, right? Wonder why.
Yep.
Wonder why. Must be true. Well, given the past, we must know it's false. Oh, man. All right. So as you guys can see, they're stepping in. Now, their system is coming to an end. They're about to feel major pain in more ways than just one. Dollar's basically done because they killed it. That was the objective the whole time anyway. What's left? What's left is crypto, as you can see by the impending entrance of BlackRock. I mean, this is just the start. What's left? Well, as you guys saw earlier, there's 5,000 plus coins for these clowns to sift through. What do you think they're going to ultimately pick? You really think they're going to be picking the dog shit, fleas? I mean, you think they're going to be sifting through dog shit with fleas on it to allocate capital? Now, look, of course, you're going to have a replication of the stock market, and you're going to have all these composite type of products where they're splicing and dicing crap like grayscale is that doesn't even make sense. Of course, you're going to have that. Of course. But is that what's going to win? No, that's not what's going to win. Just like in the stock market, you got your leaders, you're going to have your leaders in crypto. Fact.
Mhm.
Same deal. So do your due diligence, understand what cryptocurrency is supposed to be. Make sure you do not get left behind by playing with shit coins, because your ass will get left behind by playing with shit coins. And if you do play with shit coins, make sure it's a small slice of your bag and not something crazy. Because again, you want to be a statistic, and that's what you shall be. But you know, look at the big picture. Everything is lining up. The charts I've been showing have been, multi-decade charts. So the impending moves are major.
Yeah, huge.
Huge. Huge. So prepare yourself. Learn if you're not fully understanding what the conversation topics are, and exactly what the impact is going to be. Ask questions if you're not understanding. But this is a formidable point in time where history is being made, and the decisions you make will impact your future and your family's future, whether you like it or not. Good luck.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much all I got, brother.
Yeah, same. I think we pretty well covered it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's still not obvious why Hex is the best. Just understand that the ability to put yourself at the freaking source of the water that goes to the watering hole cannot be beat. Just
Mhm.
simply cannot be beat. So that's kind of how you gotta look at it. Um, take it for what it is, right? I mean, let's finish it off with this, because I'm here making all these crazy claims, but how do we see it, right? How do I see it? How do you see it? I mean, we talked about this a long time ago.
Mhm. Here it
About
is.
about how this is basically the forecast for Hex, and in a lot of ways. I mean, shorten it a little bit. This is what Hex is going to do because it has to. And the reason it has to is because it's a yield bearing instrument, right? And that's what this is. Also, this euro dollar instrument. I even wrote a little article. What, did I write that for everybody? Probably not. Never mind. Maybe I'll share that as a boy in the future. But as you guys can see, when you zoom in, there's a lag, right? The euro dollars move in advance of Hex.
Mhm.
So as you guys can see, Hex is probably going to flip the switch eventually and play catch up once again. And I was looking at what the delta is, and last time we had a delta of catch up approximately 200 days or so, and before that it was 117, and then before that it was 80. So we're probably due, right?
Yeah.
Because we've been going sideways for a while ourselves. So it's only a matter of time. And I mean, who knows if today is the day? I mean, it kind of looks like it with that double bottom. And
Mhm.
Hex doesn't really ever retrace the same level. So looks about right.
And that whole zone, right? There's only so much liquidity there, and then the
Oh,
price
well,
has no choice but to move.
yeah. What's interesting is people don't understand that, right? Like they'll see this gap on like V2 or whatever, V3, and let's pull that bullshit up. Come on. Today would be great. All right. So what happens when price hits right here? Well, it has no choice but to reverse, literally. And same thing here. Unless somebody pushes it up, it has to reverse. because there's no liquidity. Somebody would then literally have to buy across X number of price levels, and nobody's trying to give money away. So that's exactly why it doesn't do that. Simple. Same deal here. Nobody's going to sell from 11 cents all the way to freaking 6, down 6 cents to 5. So this is why prices stop going in that direction once they reach these levels. But yeah, pretty much it, man. I think we nailed everything pretty succinctly. Get ready for the stampede because they're coming. They have no choice. They've destroyed their own system, and they weren't shy about letting you know they were doing it. I think what they didn't anticipate was it not working out how they wanted it to. And this is why we're seeing what we're seeing now. I mean, Fed funds, which is not much of a barometer for anything, in reality is just more of a what they're forced to do type of thing. And as you guys can see, finally moved up. And here we got the spread again. And look, the all-time high was 2.4, 2.5, which basically implies that even though the Fed funds rate is effectively up, they're still behind by 8 hikes. So they've basically done nothing. So fun times ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. So yeah, all right. Appreciate you guys chilling, hanging out with us on a Friday night. Don't forget that you got FN Hangout coming up in half an hour on Discord Syndicate. So tune into that.
Boom.
And hope you guys enjoyed this information, and I hope this gives you more confidence in your position. And please try to understand the information that's being shared, because again, the data's out there. We're just relaying it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's pretty much it. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
cool, man.
Peace. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep. Everybody. My God. Hex agents, bro. Everybody.